Good morning. My name's Andy and I am the support manager here at Interface, and we'll be taking questions for the next hour. You can pop them in the box provided on YouTube. You can email live at interface.com, and you can also tweet us at Interface, and we can answer your questions as you go along. So we've had some questions come in throughout the week, so I'll start on those first, and then like I say, can answer any of your questions throughout. So I'm going to start off with, I want to be able to send an email when a deal is at a particular stage. So you can do that. So I'm on Bitrix here, and if we go into the CRM, and then there's a couple of ways you can do this. If we go into the deal section here, and then we go into a particular deal. So Bitrix has automation rules. So if you click into the automation tab, and you can see here that we have a range of different statuses here. So we have prospect introduction, quotation, qualification, promised, and closed deal. And below you can see that we have some automation rules in place that are triggered when a particular stage is reached. So you can see here that this has already been actioned, and you can see quotation, schedule a call, create a notification, and create using source. And if you click on the top right hand corner here, click on configure automation rules. So the question was, can we send an email out on a particular deal stage? So you can do that if you click on add, and then depending on who you want to send the email to, you can send the email to the employee, or you can send the email to the correspondent who's so for example the client that the deal is particularly for. So if that was the case, then we can send email, and we can write. And the good thing is with the automation rules is that you can actually pull in information from the deal itself into the actual email. So we do that by clicking on the three little dots next to the text box here. And what we can do is we can pull in anything we want really. So if you've got standard fields, you can pull in. If you want to pull in custom fields that you may have created for the deal, you can pull in those too. So it is quite a useful tool. We may want to pull in the deal name, for example. So we would just double click, and then we would pull in the deal name on here. So that's one way you can send a email out on a deal stage change. Bitrix also has another business process editor tool. So if we click into, as an administrator, if we go into the CRM and settings, and click on automation, and then we can click on business processes. So this is, we want to create a business process for a deal, so we can click on add template. And what we want to do here is we want to trigger this business process when the deal has been changed. So once somebody clicks on the deal stage, it will move it along, and we will trigger this business process. So we could say send email here. Now the reason why you might use this business process editor tool rather than the automation tool is maybe because you want to include something that is a little bit more custom. So I'm on the self-hosted version here of Bitrix, which has a, just close some of these here, but it has a PHP code block. So it may be that you want to integrate with another application, so we can pull in here. The PHP block allows us to connect to APIs and other things like that. So it may be that that's one of the reasons why you might want to include it in this business process tool. So what I've brought in here, I've brought in a condition, and what the condition block does, we'll give it a name. We'll call this check deal stage. And what we can do here is, if we click on element field, and what the element field actually means is any field in the deal itself. So if I click on the element field here now, we'll be able to see every field that exists within the deal. So what we want is the stage, and you can see here that we have deal stages. We also have all the stages in each deal pipeline as well, so it may be that you can trigger this business process based on particular deal stages in particular pipelines, so you can build up your own business process custom to which pipeline that you're in as well. So we'll just put on this one, we'll put quotation. And hopefully this gives you a little bit of insight as well into using the business process editor tool, because it is one of the more powerful tools on Bitrix. And then we'll just have two branches on this. So we'll click on stage, and then we'll click on, we'll have this as qualification. So what this allows us to do, click on qualification there. So if the deal stage equals quotation, do the actions under this block. If the deal stage equals qualification, then do the actions under this block here. So obviously on here there are quite a lot of different features that you can use. The point that came in was to do with emails, so we could send an email. We could send it from myself on here, so I'm logged in as John Smith. And what we could do is we can send it to the person responsible, and we could say deal in quote stage. And again, pretty much like you could do on the automation side of things, is you can bring in any field that exists. So if we want to name again, click on insert and give it a name. So you can make these as dynamic as you want, and you can even, if you wanted HTML, you can create a HTML template and put it in there if you wanted to. And you can also attach files, so it may be that there's a file that exists within the deal itself that you may want to bring in. I don't think we've got any custom fields that are files, but if there was, we could maybe we could bring in that particular field and we'll pre-populate it. Click on save, and then click on save again. So that's pretty much it. That's pretty the two variations of what you can do in terms of sending on the deal stage. You can send an email. Obviously you can do a lot of other actions on there. So let's see if we've got any more questions. I create a list with I create a list with fields and workflows. So I'm not sure what you're asking, but I can just go into it. So I just go into the workflows on Bitrix, and again it's dealing with the business process tool as well. So workflows can be found on all premium packages, so all monthly cloud accounts that you pay for, and also on-premise as well. We have a feature under more called workflows, and what workflows allow you to do is just following up following up from this point. I'll come into that point in a moment. But what you can do on workflows is you can have a form. You can fill out all the necessary fields and it will trigger a business process off. So these are quite good for information-based processes, so maybe submitting expenses, or one of the standard ones that comes with Bitrix is requesting leave. So you can see here we have leave approval, so I can specify a start date and end date. And what it actually does, it sends the information to a particular workflow. So if I go into workflows in the left hand side and click in workflows in activity stream, then if I go into leave approval, for example, it will trigger the workflow, configure workflows, it will trigger this particular workflow. So you can see this is pre-built, and again, if you've got a cloud or a on-premise version, this will come in with Bitrix, so you can have a play around with it. And it basically runs through a whole process, asks the person to approve the leave, and then sets it into the absence chart if it's been accepted. So following on from this, just got, can I execute one of these workflows? Can I execute a workflow from a deal, for example? So how you would generally do that is, if you go into the CRM, and I'll just give you an example. So I know I've just jumped around a little bit between the business processes side, but you can have on a CRM business process, you can have it so you can manually trigger a business process, and you can have it so that you populate a form, for example, prior to submitting. So let's just show you how to do that, because not many people know that this feature's here. So if I go into the settings and back into the business processes, and let's just create one for a deal. So we're going to manually run this, so these two need to be unchecked. And let's just say, we're going to say deal approval. So if I just click on save, so we've named it, and what we want to do is we want to actually create the form fields themselves. So if we click on template parameters and then go to the parameters, in this section here is where we can build up form elements. So if we click on here, and we can say we'll add another one on here to say give that a date field. Click OK and click save. And then what we can do is we can have an approval loop. So in this case, let's set this to myself. I'll call this approved deal date, and then we'll say deal value. And again, going into here, we can specify some of the deal fields. And the good thing about it is as well, we can pull in that, so we can say deal name, and then we can pull in the parameters that we pull in. So see here, deal name, deal. So the template parameters, pull in this and click on save, and then what we'll do, if it gets approved, we'll update the deal stage to close one. And if it gets rejected, we'll update the deal stage. So modify element basically means modify any field that exists within the deal. So they call it element because obviously we're using the same business process tool for leads, for deals, for deals, for companies and for contacts. So the element part is whichever you're creating the business process for. So let's just do that here. And then let's save that. So we called it approve changes. So if we go into the deals, and let's click on this deal, for example, here. And the one that I've just created is going to be manually run. So what we can do here is click on, and then we'll click on deal approval. And you can see now it pops up a field, and those template parameters that I set up are now visible here. So I can say this is going to be Andy's deal, and we'll have the dates tomorrow. So if I click on start, what that has now done is it's gone to myself to approve. So if I click back into workflows here on the left hand side, and we'll reorder these on here. So we've got approved deal date. You can see deal value. It's brought the value of the deal in here, and you can see it's brought in the two fields that I filled in on the particular deal. So we click on start, and what I can do here is accept or refuse. So if I accept, then it will move that particular deal into the one stage. So it's quite good that you can pop up a field. So that's basically how you do that. How to get a lead name and status using a webhook in Zapier. So not actually, you obviously can you can use third-party applications. You probably need to read the. I'm not 100% sure, to be honest. You probably need to read the documentation on Zapier for the integration between those two. I want to know why the subtasks in the models don't duplicate. Not 100% sure what you mean by that. If you could clarify, that would be great. Got another. Let's see if we've got any more questions on here. So we've got a question about sending SMS messages out of Bitrix. So there's a number of ways you can send SMS messages out of Bitrix. You can send them on the processes which we've just been creating, and you can send them out straight out from the CRM. Now the only thing is with SMS is that you do need to connect Bitrix up to an SMS provider. Now both on the cloud and on the on-premise version, we do have an application store. So if we go to the application store here on the left hand side, then you can search for SMS. I do believe it'll come up with a couple. Yes, so it comes up with quite a lot of providers here. And then we've used Plivo SMS. So if we click on here, let's have a look on here. So what this allows you to do, you can install it for free. There is going to be a charge. You'd have to sign up for a Plivo account. There's going to be a small charge for each SMS that's sent. I do think it is quite competitive, and it is really it's a really good feature of Bitrix. So once you've installed that, then you can go into the CRM. One of the questions I get asked quite frequently is, with the SMS, does it come from a particular number? I think when you sign up for an account, especially with the one with Plivo, is you can actually have it come from your company name. So in our case, if we was to send an SMS out of Bitrix CRM, then it would come from Interface. It wouldn't show a mobile telephone number. So you can go into then a company or a contact, and if we click into a contact here, then you can see we have an SMS. So at the moment we don't have one connected on our demonstration site, but once you do, and the way that you install it, I showed you a moment ago, then yeah, you can send it straight out of there. Got any update that will allow to receive them back into Bitrix, the SMS messages? I've not actually seen it actually come back into Bitrix. I think it is actually just a one-way at the moment. I would need to check with that. I would need to check with the provider with that as well, because obviously with Bitrix you've got similar things such as the email. You've got the email that you can send out, and then once it replies it comes back in. But with SMS messages, it's a good question. I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, I'd have to find out for you on that and come back to you. Yeah, with Twilio they go out, but if they reply they don't see it. Yeah, I don't think at the moment, I've never seen them come into Bitrix, so I would have to check. I think I've got a question here about, I'm not sure what you're referring to as in models. Maybe I think maybe the main tasks or templates. I know when you create a task template with subtasks, I don't think their subtasks currently are set. I think that is actually a fixed setting on Bitrix at the moment. Can you tell me the difference between standard and with conversions in the funnel type? So a conversion is something that has been won. So if it's a standard deal type, then it's going to be it's not won. With conversions, a conversion is you've converted a deal to won. So that would be the difference. So following on from the question that's come through YouTube, we're heavily involved in projects and we're using the work groups to manage our projects. Is there a way to preset tasks? So Bitrix does have a good project management tool. So if we were to create a new project here, you can see we can have an open project which anybody can join. We've got a private which you can invite people into, and we've got an external which is good for extranet users. So the difference between a project work group and a normal work group is you've got the ability to add a start date and an end date, and you've also got the language to reflect the project. So project owner, project subjects, and project assistants. So once we've got one of those, the question was just about how we can preset tasks. So if we go into the task sections, and if we just go into the top right hand corner here, we've got new task, and if we drop down, we have, click on all templates. So what you can see here is we can create task templates. So if we were to create a task here, for example, it's exactly like creating a standard task. We can preset everything, so we can say Bitrix24 live, and then on the checklist we can say send marketing, set up screen sharing. So you can see here that we can build it up. We can set up here, we can add a file if we wanted to, we can bring people in. Responsible person is going to be myself. It may be that we want a few, and then we can say maybe 1 hour after the task is created. And we can assign that to a particular project work group, so we can say here, and then we can add a different range of different things on here. The good thing is with the task templates, which has been an evolvement of Bitrix, is you can now share task templates with everybody that's on the system. So if I was to just set this to myself, only I would see this particular task template, but maybe somebody in your department or your project wants to also use this task template. It's just a case of selecting them and giving them full task template access. So if we create this, and you can see here that this is preset, everything is set on here. So if I just jump back to all, a good way of having preset tasks like that now is that for every project that I create, we can then select a new task from the task template on here. So we can say, for example, if we said service specification, everything's set on here already, and then we can just go ahead and create the particular task. So it's pretty straightforward. That's definitely one way of having preset tasks. The other way, it may be that you have a workflow. So go back to the activity stream, click on activity stream and workflows, and we could have a new project. If we have a new project here, we could fill this in and it trigger a business process. And then on that business process, we could have maybe a series of different tasks as well. So that would give you a good way of having preset preset tasks in a particular project. So where do I see disqualified leads in the list view? So I assume that you mean, so leads, if we go into the CRM on here, I'm going to leads, and we go into the list view here. So in general, you can see all the leads in progress. I think it may be because you've got a filter on. So if we were to go into here, and then we can see on here, so we just create the filter and we can say status is going to be junk lead, click on search, and then you can see all the ones that have been, I believe that's what you're referring to with the disqualified leads. So you can see all the ones that have been junked previously, and that's quite good because it may be that you want to create a follow-up to maybe get back in touch with these after a certain time. So we could have, on our automation, we could have maybe on a junk lead, wait 2 or 3 weeks, and then send them an email. Maybe that might be quite a good one to recap. See if we've got any more questions. How does a task template help? Well, I think we've just been through that, so I think that's just basically because it just allows you to preset all the information within a particular task. And I've tried to duplicate the task templates with subtasks that you showed. Yeah, I did mention that when you create a task template with subtasks, at the moment, I do believe there is a bug that doesn't copy the subtasks in. I have experienced that before myself. I think if you've got a self-hosted, it may be best to just drop us, get in touch, drop us a line, because we have actually fixed that for someone previously, and it does allow you to. We have fixed it before, so it does allow you to create subtasks in particular templates. So let me know if you've got a self-hosted version of Bitrix. So see if we've got any more questions coming through. So I've got my CRM form. Will not be is not being able to show on my website. I just get a blank screen. So it's quite hard to diagnose what the errors could be on your CRM form. So if you go into the CRM, and when you create a web form, a CRM web form, you get this embed code, and you just basically copy that code and put it into your particular website. Now I have seen issues previously on, I think on some servers for WordPress, it won't display it. However, it's just generally a server setting to do with the origin of this particular embed code. So it may be that you just check with your hosting provider to see why this isn't showing, because in general this does show on all WordPress sites. It shows on standard HTML web pages, and it shows on quite a lot of the e-commerce packages as well. So it's quite hard to diagnose without seeing it. If you do get any errors, just let us know. But in general, the issues that I've seen embedding forms on websites is down to just the hosting and the security level on the hosting. So it's probably best to have a look into that. So I've got another question. Can I remove the Bitrix branding and white label Bitrix for myself? So, I mean, there's different levels of customizations you can do. On the cloud, you can put your logo on there, and that's pretty much all you can do on the cloud version of Bitrix. So we've got the cloud version open here. So you can put a logo up here. You've obviously got the functionality now to put a background on as well. So you can see here that we have a sunset on there. We can actually go into the profile and click on themes. And if you wanted to, you can actually upload your own custom theme. So it may be that you do the branding that way. And but there are quite a range of different backgrounds that you can use on your site. So we can make it blue, or so maybe on the cloud version it may be that you want to do that. On the self-hosted version, you can actually brand it a little bit more. So you can actually change the top banner here. You can, on the extranet for example, you can bring in your own banners. You can customize the login page, so you can have your own branding on your login pages. So there's a little bit more, well, there's quite a lot more customization that you can do on the self-hosted, and that's definitely one of the main positives about the self-hosted version, is that the ability to customize, because you do have access to all the source code. So if you go into the Site Explorer here, click on Files and Folders, you do have access to all the source code on the on-premise. So it's really good for somebody that, if you've got a team of technical people or developers, then you can really customize the on-premise version. So let's see what other questions we've got. So we've just got a question about the email integration on Bitrix. We've got a question about coming into different areas of Bitrix. So it does have quite a powerful email integration tool, again available on the cloud and on the self-hosted. And if you go into your profile at the top right here, you'll be able to see, I think if we go, let's have a look on here. If you go into email integration options, and what it allows you to do is it allows you to connect your existing mailbox. So you can see here we haven't connected one on here, but if we've got Gmail, Outlook, 365 or Exchange, then it's just a simple case of clicking on the one that you're going to be using, and then click on attach. It will just ask you to put in your credentials. You can add your own domain, so you can use IMAP settings, you can use POP3. So there's quite a lot of, I don't think you'll struggle to connect your email account. And then once it's connected, what Bitrix does is it basically acts as a mirror email account to your existing mail. So it will check your inbox for all incoming email, and it will also check your sent mail as well. So it'll also check your outbox. So what that means is any emails that you receive from a contact or a company that exists in your CRM, it will take a copy of that email and put it into that contact or company's activity stream. And then again, if you send an email and the recipient you're sending it to exists in the CRM, again, it will take the copy of that email and put it into that company or contact's CRM activity stream. So if I just jumped into the CRM now and click on contacts, then if we go into this one, for example, what I mean by the contacts activity stream, so on the right hand side here we can see all the activity that's been planned. And if this individual was to email my inbox that I've connected from this particular email address, Bitrix will pick it up that these exist in our CRM, and it will make a copy on the right hand side here. So then if I was to reply to that email, again, you would take a copy of that email and put it into this activity stream. So it's really good because you can see a history of all communication between yourself and that particular contact. And it's also good depending on your CRM permissions. Say, for example, if you've got a fully open CRM, that everybody else can see all the contacts in the system. Say, for example, if you were away, I could go into Dario here and then see all the communication that you've been talking to each other about. So it's particularly good for that. And you don't have to send it out, you don't have to reply from, you don't have to use your inbox if you didn't want to. You can, whilst you're in Bitrix, you can fire an email out of here and it will come from your particular email that you have connected. So it's really good for that, and you can again do attachments and things like that. So one of the points with sending emails as well, if I was in a deal, and if we go into the list view, if I was to send a deal out of, if I was to send an email out of a particular deal and they replied, it will come back into that particular deal as well. So it is really good for tracking and seeing a history of all email communication. So hopefully that answers your question. So let's see if we've got some more questions. So can I book events in against a contact in the CRM? So whilst we're in the CRM here, it's quite easy to book in meetings and things like that against contacts. And that's probably one of the main things that happens when you're using the CRM. So if I click into here, it's just simply a case of booking in a meeting here. So the good thing about what Bitrix does is it looks at your personal calendar. So we can go into calendars in a moment and have a look at that. But it then will pick the next available slot. So you can see here, I'm on around about 3:40, and it's not letting me book this slot in. You can see I've got a vacant time button here. So if I click on that, it will move it along and it will provide my next available time. So 4 o'clock is my next available time to book this meeting. And it's really useful for that. And once you've booked it in, you give it a subject, give it a location, it will then be booked into the planned section here. So it says at the moment you don't have any scheduled events. If I was to book in a meeting for, let's say, tomorrow, I'm giving a subject, so introduction, let's say this in the office, and click on save. So you can now see that this is now being booked in for the planned events for Michael under his activity stream. So it's really good. Again, you can see everything that you've got planned with this particular client. And as well, in the CRM, you do have the activities section in here. So if you click into activities and then click into the list view, we can actually see all the meetings and phone calls that have been booked in for particular contacts. So you can see in here, I've got a filter. I'm logged in as Matt Smith, so I can see, let's say for all this week, we can say what meetings. So hopefully, if you click on here, you can see the meeting that I've just booked in. It appears in here, so we can click on it and it will pull in the meeting details. And one of the really good uses for the activities section, just while we're in here, is we have quite a lot of companies that have maybe call lists to do, booking calls in on a regular basis. We have companies that book 60 to 80 calls in a day. You can actually, the first port of call that you do in the morning, come into the activities section, they have a predefined filter that's already been set for all their calls today. So they could click on calls today, and then they'll be able to see all the calls that are booked in for today. So it's really useful, this section of the CRM, and it's, like I say, it's one of the main areas that people use to come in and see all their activity that they've been booked in. So let's see if we've got any more questions. So, but what does the extranet mean? So basically, when you have a paid version of Bitrix, so you get two sites. So you get an intranet site, and you also get an extranet. So basically, what an extranet is a place where you can invite your clients in to an extranet work group. They will be able to log into your system, click into extranet here, and it's a slimmed down version of the internet. So they will never be able to access any critical information or personal information about the business. So they won't be able to access anything like the CRM or any other work group that they've not been invited into. They will only be able to ever see the work group that they've been invited into and the activity within that work group. So the activity of the extranet work group that they've been invited into displays on their activity stream, and they do get quite a lot of useful features. So if I was to go into this extranet work group, for example, you can see in here they have access to all the documents within the extranet work group, tasks, calendars, photos, and things like that. So it's, like I say, it's quite a powerful tool, and especially when you've got the chat as well. So if you clicked into chat, I've got the desktop application open at the moment, but if they click into chat, then they'll be able to use the video calling and the voice calling to speak to people within your business. So it's important to note that all extranet users are free. You can have unlimited extranet users, and if you ever want to invite a new extranet user into the system, you can click on invite to project, and then you can click, if they already exist, you can click on add external user, or if you want to invite them in, then we can say just send them, and then you can send them a personal message, click on send invitation. They'll receive a link to your Bitrix, and they'll be able to register on a form. Once they've registered and logged in, they'll be able to see their work group on the left hand side, and then everything that's been posted in that particular work group that you give them access to. So it's definitely a good way to collaborate with your clients, and it's definitely a good way to communicate with them and let them follow your particular task. So how we use it here, if we get a new client on board, we'll create a new extranet work group, invite the client into the work group, and put them as participants on particular tasks, so they can see what ourselves and the developers are doing on each individual task and have an insight to what's happening. So it's a really useful and powerful tool. See if we've got any more questions on here. So is there a limit to the amount of workflows that you can choose, that you can have? So no, so you can have as many as you want, as long as you've got, like I say, a paid package on the cloud or the self-hosted, then you can have it unlimited. Just one point that we regularly get asked really is they don't see anything in their workflows section. If you don't see anything, it's just a case of going to your workflows directory here, and then you'll just have a green button that says install workflows. So just click on that, and then you'll get these 5 that come with Bitrix. So it's definitely useful to have these 5 installed. Even if you don't use them, you can actually turn them off so they don't appear in the activity stream, so you can switch them off here like that. But I think it allows you to just have an insight into the actual workflows behind them, and you can have a play around with them and tweak them to your business requirements really. So we've just got a question about connecting open channels. So what's in the open channel section of the CRM? So you can see here on the left hand side we have open channels, and basically what Bitrix allows you to do is it allows you to connect to social networks. So we've got the main one that people use is Facebook. So if you were to connect to Facebook on here, what this would allow you to do is it would allow a user to navigate to your business page on Facebook, and if they were to send you a message, it would then come directly into Bitrix. So it would come via the open channel widget here. So once you click on that, pop up, and it would be an instant message. So you could message straight from Bitrix, and the person on Facebook would automatically get a message back. So it's a one-on-one conversation, which is instant. So you don't have to go to Facebook and answer it. You can actually answer it within Bitrix itself. And whilst we're in here, we've also got some cool features. We've got the live chat. So again, it's pretty similar. It comes through your open channels widget here, and you can have a one-on-one conversation with people on your website. We've noticed quite an increase in inquiries through the live chat, just generally because it's quicker and easier to just ask a question. So if you got a question for next week, maybe pop on live chat and just ask the question that you just say, pop it on there, and we can answer it next week as well. See if we've got any more. But how easy is it to integrate Bitrix into my current system? So we had a question earlier actually just with regards to Zapier. I mean, there are tools out there that, especially Zapier, does let you connect Bitrix to other systems. You also, as I mentioned earlier as well, you do have the application store. So it depends what you want to integrate with. And Bitrix has quite a lot of integration tools, for example, with financial packages, such as Xero and QuickBooks. It has integration with other things like MailChimp. If you want, we get quite a lot of questions about moving an existing CRM to Bitrix. Some people integrate, and some people completely migrate. There's tools on here such as that as well. So if you wanted to migrate from Zoho to Bitrix, and there's quite a lot of other ones as well on here. So in general, it's really good for integrating. There's the webhooks as well feature on Bitrix. If you want to go a little bit deeper into the integration, then I would probably recommend taking up the on-premise version of Bitrix, because that has a full API, and you can really integrate that with pretty much anything that has an API really. So it all depends on the complexity and the levels of integration that you want to do. So just checking if we've got any more questions. So we've just going back to the web forms, so just about it generating leads. So when you set up your CRM web forms, just go into here and click on CRM forms and click on edit. You basically have the choice of how you want these to be, what form fields you want in here. So on the right hand side, we've got this at the moment, creating a lead. So we can pull any lead fields in that we want. So for example, if we click on source, status, position, then you can see in here it starts building up the form based on these. So when these fields are submitted on your public web form, then it will populate the exact same fields that are within the lead. So it's pretty useful for that. If we scroll down, you can see a little bit more. And if you want to change it, so the question was about can the forms create a lead? Obviously here they can. if you wanted to create a company, a deal, or a new quote, or create an invoice, you can basically change it here. So it's completely up to you. And while we're in here, you can style them, so it doesn't have to look like an external form that's sat on your website. You can have it look like an unbranded version of your form. So, and then slot straight into your branded website. So they are really powerful and they're really good, and they connect into your Bitrix instance. Just got a question about kind of view and edit documents on Bitrix. So so Bitrix has quite a powerful document management tool, and it all depends on. So if we go into a company drive here, for example, in fact we'll go into our on-premise version on here to show you. So click into the drive and go into the company drive. Then it's completely up to you how you want to work with your documents in Bitrix. You can download them and edit them, or you can, if you click on your cog icon in the top right hand corner, we have settings for working with documents. So if you select locally, what you can do is you can have the desktop application open. So Bitrix has, if you're not aware already, let's just go to Bitrix and click on the apps and click on mobile apps. So Bitrix has a desktop application, and what it allows you to do is it allows you to sync files from Bitrix to your local machine. And if you're going to be working with documents locally and you have the desktop application open, say for example it's a Word document, then if you click on the document itself, it will open up in your Microsoft Word, for example. You can type and then click save, and then it will sync straight back into Bitrix. So if you wanted to as well, you can lock the document so nobody else edits it at the same time. So it is quite a useful tool to be editing locally. And then the other option is if you use Google Docs or Microsoft Office online, then you can open up a document within those. You would just need to put your parameters in for your Google account if you're going to be using Google Docs, and the same with Microsoft. So it lets you authenticate with Google to open up that particular application online. So either or, it's completely up to you. Alternatively, if you click on locally and you don't have the desktop application open, then it will download the file and you would have to re-upload it to Bitrix. So it's really, like I say, it's a really powerful tool. It's definitely a good way to work if you are going to be working on a local application. So let's see if we've got any more. Just a quick question about the extranet user limitation. So I mentioned earlier that there is no limitation on the amount of extranet users. So while we're in documents, we just had a question about being able to share your documents with people outside your Bitrix intranet. So yeah, Bitrix offers quite a useful tool really. You can get public links. So for example, if I wanted to share this particular document, we can get a public link here, and then you can see here if I was to copy. And then if we click on, let's go into a new incognito window. If I click on this, then you can see here it provides the document, and it also, once it loads up, it also actually provides a preview of that document as well. So one of the other advantages of having the self-host is you can actually brand this page to go with your company branding. So you might want your company logo here, your company colours. But like I say, it's quite a powerful tool because you can obviously preview your document, and it's really good if you're sharing it with clients. They don't obviously see anything to do with your intranet. It's just a short link, and you can see here it'll just be your URL and just a short abbreviation for the quick link. So that's how you can share a particular file. You can now actually Bitrix introduced that you can actually share folders now as well. So if you were to click on email attachments, then you can actually get a public link as well for the actual folder. So it's not just single files that you can share with people outside of Bitrix, it's also the ability to share folders as well. So it's, like I said, it's really useful and really powerful for that. So let's see if we've got one more question coming to an end. If anybody's got any quick questions, I can answer them. Just put them in the box on YouTube. Got a question about can I buy additional storage without upgrading your package? So you just need to upgrade your package on Bitrix to get the additional storage. If you're on self-hosted, you can, if you're hosting it yourself, you can add as much or as little storage as you want. If a partner is hosting it for you, because on premise versions, it's not, you don't have to host them yourself. A partner can host them for you. We have hosting packages for the on-premise version, and if you wanted an extra 5 gig, it's just a case of resizing the drive on the server. But with the cloud versions, you would just need to upgrade, because I think you get a minimum of, I'm not sure how much it is on the free cloud, so you would need to upgrade to the package above to get some more space. So I think that's coming to an end. I don't think we've got any more questions coming through. I'll just put our details up. We're based in the UK, and we're based in New York and Dubai. Those are our details on the screen. If anybody's got any questions at all that's coming in after this particular live session, please drop us an email. You can email myself, Andy at Intraface, or you can email live at Intraface. We can do private demos, so if you've got any custom requirements, we can provide those for you. But other than that, thank you very much for your time, and we're here at 10 AM every Thursday Eastern Time.